They're here. They're here. I genuinely have not seen my new book. I've only seen like the galley copy. Oh, it's much nicer than I thought. The finish on the front. Angels are with you now. In a world that feels uncertain, how would your life be different if you knew the angels were able to guide and protect you? Since the beginning of time, different traditions and religions have shared a similar idea that unseen beings are able to help from above. With 1 in 3 people believing in angels and 10% believing they've had a personal encounter, who are we to deny the millions who say their life has been touched by an angel? No longer are these encounters considered as taboo or reserved for the religious. Angels are available to help you at every given moment. All you have to do is ask. You do not have to walk this path alone. Angels are with you now. This is my new book, and I'm so excited about this. And during the editorial process, my mother passed away. And I was able to dedicate the book to my mother in time. And so the inside it says, "For my biggest cheerleader on earth and now in heaven, my mum Diane Gray, who crossed the bridge during the process of editing this book." Yeah, I'm so proud of this book, and it feels like the perfect time. Hay House said to me, "Kyle, do you want to put back the launch of this book, because you've been through it recently?" And I feel that everything that I've faced and everything that I've overcome and all of the challenges that I've dealt with recently have actually kind of been preparing me for this moment. And I've found that many of my friends say, "Kyle, are you questioning your faith during this time? Like, what happens to people like you when you're going through moments of darkness?" And I actually feel the brightness and the lightness of angels more than ever. I actually feel that these darker moments have given me a greater opportunity to lean into my faith and my beliefs and my spiritual practice. And I believe that that's why things have actually been, I'm not going to say easy, but easier than most people. I think my recovery and my healing and kind of my direction has come quicker than the average person. And I think that's because I have this genuine faith and belief and knowing that when this physical body dies, there is something bigger and greater within us that continues on. And you know, when I was 15 years old, I remember going to a spiritual event with my mother, and we were watching, a medium do a demonstration of, I guess, messages and channeling and readings. And I remember whispering into my mother's ear, "This is what I was put on this earth to do." And even when I was only, 15 years old, there was this great mission inside of me, this kind of calling that was asking me to kind of bring the angels to the world. And I feel charged up in that mission now with this book. My goal is to help as many people as possible know that they do not walk this path alone, that there is a greater force of goodness and light out there, and you don't have to be religious or meditate for 45 minutes a day to experience this presence, that it is there when you are ready, and that you can invite it in, and you don't have to be gifted or have special sight to be able to experience the presence of the angels. We're living in an age where they have found better and easier ways to get in touch. And I think if you've ever seen, like angel numbers like 1111 on the clock or 444 or anything similar to that, angels have been trying to get your attention and to remind you that you are not alone. So, why this book now, you ask? I think it's important to say that my first book I worked on when I was 22 years old, and I'm just about to turn 37. So we're, a little bit further down the line, and a lot has changed in those years. We're living in a completely different world. When I first wrote my book, I was a newspaper columnist. I was called the Angel Whisperer in the Scottish Sun. And that was one of the main ways to get in touch with people, in a media level, was actually through newspapers and magazine articles. And that's where I built my reputation. But over the last, 10 plus years, things have changed. We've moved into this very digital world, and we're more in touch with each other than ever. And I also feel like that has also given us the opportunity to develop spiritually quicker. And so a lot of the things that I thought about angels back in the day has shifted based on the times that we are now living. And a lot of the limitations that were placed upon angels and me have shifted as well. For example, when I first came into the angel world, there was other kind of teachers and speakers out there that had certain ideas about what angels were and who could be an angel. And, one of the things that I've come to understand is that we cannot just be set in stone about spiritual matters. Things are always shifting, energy's always changing, and we're always growing. And, so one example would be, people would always say, a soul is a soul, like a human soul is a human soul, and an angel is an angelic soul. And for the most part, most teachers and speakers will say that human souls cannot become angels. But if you actually look into spiritual text, there's a lot of instances in scripture that actually says that angels disguise themselves as humans all the way through scripture. And also there are certain points in biblical scripture that says that human souls become angels. So who are we to say that your loved ones in heaven have not become angels to you? I don't think it's so set like that. And so I discuss all of this in this book. I discuss why it's important not to have a name for your guardian angel. Like, if you're really feeling like you'd love to know your guardian angel's name, then that's cool. But if you're not getting one, it doesn't mean that you're not gifted or that your angel is not there. It's just having a name for your angel is unnecessary, because these beings are ultimately energy, and energy is beyond limitation. And so when we put a label or a name on an angel, it's just one aspect of them, but we should not allow ourselves to be limited by these labels and by these names. So that's just one of the things that I really feel important to share. And another one is, so many people believe that in order for you to really have that knowing the angels exist, that you have to see them. And there are millions of people out there who are interested in spirituality, who have been meditating for 20 years, and they've still not had that experience of having a full body apparition of an angel. And again, I don't think that's important. I believe that when the physical body dies and the soul ascends, we don't see with our eyes and we don't hear with our ears. We feel with our spiritual heart. And so I like to argue that feeling a presence is way more important than seeing or hearing a presence, because I believe that when we go to that realm, our senses are not going to be the same as the ones that we've had when we're human. And so my argument is, if you're not clairvoyant, maybe you're skipping a step, because I think that feels good. There's just so much pressure to be spiritual enough, when I think it's a lot more simple than that. Angels Are With You Now comes out worldwide on February 18th, 2025.